Fellas, bluegill cooking recipes. I've been eating bluegill all my life, man. Dad and I would catch them, and there was one way they cooked them: skin them, gutted them, seasoned it with salt and pepper, battered cornmeal, and deep fat fried it. That was it. That's all you got. But I worked in a restaurant for like 10, 11 years, and I learned a lot about cooking. Cooking methods: you can either deep fat fry them, you can bake them, you can pan fry them, you can grill them, you can do just about anything you can do with any meat. You can do it with fish. Deep fat frying down here in the South is the common way it's done, which is not very healthy. Good way to have a heart attack. But I pan fry it like you saw the other day, just tablespoon of oil, whatever, right there in the pan, and that's it. Another thing you want to do, no matter what you're doing, it comes down to the spices. Another thing is basil. Basil is a great herb for fish, so is rosemary. In fact, I normally grow some basil in the summertime, but I'm not gotten a garden this year. Let's see what else. If you're doing something like fish tacos, of course, cilantro. You can grill that coriander seed and make cilantro out of it, and that's good. Baking I don't really like baking much in the summertime because it just heats up the house so much. Another thing is marinades. There's basically 3 marinades that I use for bluegill. Well, salt works well. The only thing I'm really doing with the marinade is trying to slow down the bacterial growth, trying to keep it from growing as fast. And one of the things when I was working in the restaurant, sometimes we usually do like catfish Fridays, and sometimes we'll have catfish left over. And what do we do with all that catfish? I would go to the cooler and get some beer. I would always get a lager. I don't ever get the light beers. The light beers don't taste right, and I don't drink at all. But for a batter, beer adds a certain yeasty flavor to it that you don't get any other way because of the yeasts and things that they put into the beer. A lager, Yingling is good, Blue Ribbon is good. Just get a dark lager. And you're going to dilute it, of course. You'll put the whole can of beer in, and then you put the rest of water to cover it up, and you just leave it in the refrigerator till overnight or whatever until you have a chance to wrap it up and freeze it. White wine is good. Cooking white wines have extra salt in it. White wine and fish go together, so why not marinate the fish in white wine? Especially if you put some of the other herbs like basil and rosemary in it. The thing is, in America, people are not used to eating well-seasoned foods. People are actually just used to, especially down here in the South, everybody's just used to everything tasting like salt. That's not seasoning. It just tastes like salt. You know how it is when you eat a baked potato, if you can taste the salt, it's too much salt. My thing is, let's season it with basil, let's season it with rosemary, let's season it with, chili powder and paprika and all this stuff, and you add just enough salt to enhance those other flavors. Battering it. Now, again, I don't batter anymore, but there's a dry batter and there's a wet batter. The dry batter is typically just dump it into some cornmeal and deep fat fry it. Always find that the batter just falls off into the grease and you just end up ruining the grease. If I put some flour in the batter, it tends to hold more of the batter onto the meat. First of all, dry and pat the meat down. Get it as dry as you can on paper towels, then batter it, then season it, then batter it. Let's say you had 2 cups of cornmeal. Well, I would put maybe, like half a cup of flour to that. It gives a little bit smoother texture, but it also helps the dry batter adhere to the meat a little bit. A wet batter, beer batter, how you go to Captain D's and it has that battery stuff on it? Beer batter is my favorite batter, period. Let's say you had a cup of flour. Yeah, I'd put maybe 1/4 of a cup of cornmeal, 3/4 of a cup of flour. Mix it up so that you still have a little bit of that southern grainy crunch with the cornmeal, but a true batter like that needs to have flour, not necessarily cornmeal. A good dark lager in, and you're gonna whisk it. And some guys, what they'll do is just put a little bit of salt and pepper in that, and then batter the fish and then fry it. It's like buttermilk. And you're gonna whisk it up. And you're gonna have to let it sit and rise a little bit. Type up fish and chips, and you'll see how they do it in like maybe Australia or maybe in the UK. They know how to do a proper beer batter fish. And at one point at the old day job, that's exactly what I did. Do some of that. I just get some lagers, and I would really taste good, but it's just, in a production environment like that, the cost is higher, and it's just not conducive to fast food, right? And so we had to quit metallic tasting, worthless batter. The point is, you can make up your own recipe. Then it's all about the combination of the spices. If you're gonna marinate it in a white wine, putting some basil with that is an excellent combination. Or if you're pan frying it like I'm doing it, paprika and chili powder and red pepper. With a beer batter, just beer, salt, and pepper works. It's classic. So, but anyway, there you have it, man. Bluegill cooking recipes.